Line up, you f***ing nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week.
The money line. We are live. Got an off week from the UFC, but we're still talking the fight game. We got Mike Finch in the house with his UFC Hawaii shirt. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, brother. Still reeling after those fights. It was fun to go back and rewatch each of them on the main card today just to keep it nice and fresh for you guys. And, man, still recovering after one of the best cards of the year.
It was a pretty sick ending to it, man. Holy hell. We'll get into it soon. We'll talk the whole thing as far as other news around the MMA sphere and fighting in itself. This weekend, Francis Ngannou is fighting Tyson Fury. We'll give our takes on that. I got a nice graphic loaded up for it. And then I'll, drop, as promised, some early leans for the Sao Paulo card. For the people wondering, I did drop an early prediction breakdown on the channel yesterday for every fight on the card. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's in the video section. It's the most recent one, and it's worth a watch for sure. So, Finch, we're going to start with the main event where Islam Makhachev put Volkanovski to rest. He put him to bed, Mike Finch. How do you feel about this?
This just topped off the parlay perfect. Remember, I had Said Nurmagomedov, I had Khamzat Chimaev, and I had Islam Makhachev. So I had the full camp parlay locked in. And man, did that work out, AJ. I mean, come on. You saw the physical difference in Volk's body when he was on the scale, especially when he was there at fight night. And he was doing decent. I mean, it wasn't like Volk got off to a bad start. I liked when he reversed Islam on the fence, started pressing him into that cage a little bit, tried a little bit of a shot there, it looked like. So Volk was mixing it up, but Islam Makhachev just looked to be ticking at a higher level. His kicks were excellent. He was kicking low to start, and then through one high, it missed, set it up again, going low, came up high again for the knockout. He was definitely looking for that high kick, and he got it. It was a beautifully executed performance, and it just shows you that these guys in Abu Dhabi are even harder to beat. And we have to always remember that jet lag that people have. And I don't know, I felt like Volk 1 inch higher, that fight keeps going. It just sails right over the knuckles. An incredible finish, and what a highlight for Volk's career, AJ.
It was a highlight for sure for Makhachev. He laid him out brutally with a high kick. And something that I think really separates Khabib from Makhachev is the fact that Makhachev has the knockout wins on the feet and is a dangerous striker alongside of being a very good wrestler and grappler overall. So I thought that win right there was about as good as it can get. Now, Volkanovski obviously took it on short notice, but it happened in the first round. So if it was in the fourth round, he knocked him out. Oh, well, Volk was coming in on short notice. He gassed out. The excuses can come to fruition a lot easier here. It's like, at the end of the day, Volk's going to be, super himself in round number 1. And then he got laid out brutally, which kills the, potential rivalry between these two. I guess like hindsight looking back, now it's like, man, it would have been nice to see them run it back full camp Volkanovski, because the question I'll always wonder is what if. But a knockout loss like that, it's like you can't get it back. You're not going to get another shot unless Volkanovski runs through everybody and more at featherweight for maybe 2 fights, and then he jumps up and wins a top contender fight against like somebody at lightweight. I just doubt there's a trilogy between these two. Would you say this is the last time they'll meet?
I mean, maybe, because it was so dominant, AJ. I mean, coming into this fight, Volkanovski had no advantages. He wasn't the more powerful guy. He wasn't the bigger guy. He's not that type of a one-shot finisher. So him having that game plan against Volk, like, oh, maybe in the later rounds he'll gas. He carries that into the first round, though, AJ. It's 10 days no matter what. So I feel like short camp Volkanovski in Abu Dhabi, this was a death sentence. And as far as them doing a trilogy, Yeah, it could. Maybe it could, but it's going to be many fights down the line. We're not going to see it anytime soon. You know, Justin Gaethje wants the shot. You know, Dustin Poirier wants the shot. You know, a big name, Conor McGregor. I know he's not quite near that title shot right now, but one win and he's back in the mix. And Islam would definitely do a lot for his career to fight Conor. So there are other names at 155. I don't think we see this until 2025 if we ever do again.
I think Volkanovski has hell to deal with at 145. Taking a bad knockout loss like that and now dropping down to 145 to fight Ilia Topuria. He said he wants to be active, and like they still have it tentatively booked for January. I don't like the idea of Volkanovski fighting in January after taking a brutal KO loss. I just worry that that could put him into a downward career spiral. Can you imagine him fighting against Ilia Topuria without a proper amount of time off and getting hit by one of the hardest punchers at 145 pounds, getting knocked out there? It's like, we're hurting the Volk train. I think he's got to take a few months, but he said the reason he's taking this fight is because mentally he couldn't deal with not having a fight booked. He was getting down in the dumps just on a day-to-day. So that's why he wanted to step in and give it a whirl, because he didn't want to remain inactive. I just feel like that's worrisome, because taking a bad loss like that, I think you need time off. You need some time to let everything heal. The knockout was bad, but then also just like subconscious stuff. Like, is he going to be more hesitant of kicks moving forward? Is he going to have a little bit of worry when fighters are touching him on the chin? Could this affect Volkanovski heading into fights at 145? I think maybe.
He just fought the best kicker at 145, AJ. We just saw him fight Yair Rodriguez. How crazy is it that the fight after Yair Rodriguez, he gets head kicked? Is this bizarre or what? You would think coming off of that Yair camp, he would have been more ready for those roundhouse kicks, which Islam did have a little bit of success with in the first fight. Again, 10 days notice. That camp, no camp also does things technically for you, right? If he had that full camp, perhaps he would have been more zoned in on that rear leg of Islam Makhachev. I want to call out West Coast here. West Coast says Conor McGregor does nothing for Islam. West Coast, are you out of your mind? The pay-per-view king, the guy who draws all the casuals in, would absolutely double the star power of Islam Makhachev. Yes, I understand that skill for skill and sort of, you know, prime for versus not prime is not going to be a fun matchup for Conor. However, if Conor got a win, which is what I preface this with, that is an enormous fight. It does big money, and it does a lot for the career of Islam Makhachev. Remember, nobody gave a shit who Khabib Nurmagomedov was until he started talking to Dana White while he was beating down Michael Johnson, and then it exploded when he had the beef with Conor McGregor, when the bus thing happened, when they set up the fight. The Conor McGregor fight made Khabib the absolute household MMA name that he is. Conor could do something very similar for Islam Makhachev. Make no mistake of the star power of Conor McGregor.
I think that it wouldn't be a good idea for Conor to fight Islam. Prime Islam, it wouldn't be close. I think that Conor McGregor gets dominated.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can't. I think a prime Conor McGregor is a really interesting fight for anybody, but I'm afraid we're past that point, my friend. I'm afraid we're not going to see prime Conor again. I don't know what this version is. I don't know. Rich Conor? I guess this is proper 12 Conor. This is the proper 12 era. It's a little different now, folks. Too bad. Yeah. I'm a Conor fan.
About billions, Conor, man. He's got too much in the bank. I'll be honest, man. I would say that him getting past Michael Chandler is going to be like a hell fight. That's the matchup I need to see if we're talking McGregor. Like, that just has to happen. If he can get past Michael Chandler, now we're in an interesting spot.
Did you see Michael Chandler call out Islam Makhachev? He said he needs a dog fight. These guys are polished. They don't know how to dog fight. I'll give him a dog fight.
I think that I'm in if he can get past Conor, but he got a lot of losses for our boy Michael Chandler as of recent. Sure. He's got to catch a big W. Now, question by Saba is a good one. He says, who in the top 15 is Islam's biggest threat? I feel like it has to be Charles Oliveira, like the only guy with the frame and jiu-jitsu to maybe impose real fear in him. Now, you could mention the likes of Mateusz Gamrot, but I think that the striking differential clearly favors Makhachev over Gamrot. And then I also will bring in Arman Tsarukyan, who I think is good, but I believe is overrated slightly, and I think Makhachev would take him out too.
All right. The bottom 5, I mean, we might as well just skip, right? I guess, yeah, we're just going to skip it. Number 10, Rafael Dos Anjos. Come on, folks. He's getting out wrestled. Love RDA. He's the man, but he's getting out wrestled. Dan Hooker, we've seen it. Arman Tsarukyan. Interesting, right? It was a good fight. It was a close fight. So interesting. Rafael Fiziev. We saw that last fight. So we'd have to think that it's competitive, but, you know, obviously you favor the champ. Mateusz Gamrot looked really good. I think Mateusz Gamrot's an interesting one. Mateusz Gamrot on the full camp, AJ, I think does a lot more than 10 days notice Volk was able to do. I mean, would you agree with that?
He can go longer.
Yeah.
I think that there's a chance he goes distance, but I feel like Makhachev would beat Mateusz Gamrot. It's a fight that might happen, though, and I'm interested in it.
Michael Chandler ranked above him. I think it's an interesting one just because Michael Chandler makes it crazy. You know, he'll throw it out there. And even though chances are Islam wins, Michael Chandler will roll that dice. Come on. You don't want to be there live for Michael Chandler versus Islam Makhachev. Of course you want to be there.
I'd sign in to that one because of the wildness of Michael Chandler. There's a chance you could catch Islam with a big punch. So I like the idea of that fight. And if Michael Chandler beats a Conor McGregor, he's real close to a spot like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Sorry, my camera's moving everywhere. What's going on here, folks? All right, I'm back. All right, I want to say that Beneil Dariush would be a good fight based off of his performance against Mateusz Gamrot, but we can't help but admit that we saw the performance against Charles Oliveira. So if that, you know, ready to scramble with a wrestler, Beneil Dariush shows up, it could be fun. Or we could also see him wilt. I mean, I don't know where to go with that one. Beneil Dariush is
Makhachev KO there.
Say again?
I think Makhachev would KO Beneil.
Ooh. Makhachev's more dangerous on the feet than people want to give him credit for. Yeah. Dustin Poirier. I mean, we kind of have to see it, you know? Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. Horrific matchup for Poirier, but I think it's important for the legacy of Islam Makhachev to do a Gaethje, to do a Poirier. So then Justin Gaethje would be number 2. I think that's an incredible fight. Justin Gaethje, in my opinion, may be the most dangerous next to a Charles Oliveira. I mean, number 1, obviously Charles Oliveira, because he represents a threat everywhere. You know, it'd be nice to see Charles start getting going with the jiu-jitsu a little bit more. He's so incredible at taking the back. He's so dynamic on the ground, and we don't see that out of a Justin Gaethje, right? Justin Gaethje is going to try to sprawl and box and throw calf kicks. And so those are very interesting matchups. I would definitely go between 1 and 2. Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. Give Islam Makhachev the toughest fights in the division.
So those are the 2 guys that are up for consideration. I think what Dana said is they're going the route of, Charlie O rematch, but I don't hate the Gaethje fight because Gaethje does offer a different threat. Regardless of how he looked against Khabib Nurmagomedov, Gaethje has a wrestling base, normally a solid takedown defense. He's a damn dangerous striker. I'd like to see that matchup. I think that the Oliveira rematch, I feel like the UFC is going to go that direction, and maybe you do it in Brazil. Could you imagine? We go down to Brazil. Makhachev goes to Oliveira's home turf to retain his throne. That'd be pretty badass.
I'm sold. Yeah, of course, that would be fantastic. I think you got to make these guys travel. If they're fighting in Abu Dhabi, they're too damn good.
Dude, in Abu Dhabi, it's perfect circumstance. They're treated like kings over in Abu Dhabi, man.
Seriously. Multi-million-dollar fight camps. I mean, you know, truly professional athletes at the highest level.
I feel like let's do Brazil versus Charlie O. That's a chance for us. That's what I want.
Yeah, that gives him a run for his money. You know, that's where Charlie Olives could potentially make something happen. You want to see the aggressive Oliveira. I mean, the fact that he got cut in camp makes me think he wasn't hanging out on the back foot. Makes me think he was storming people down, coming forward, trying to go hard. That's what you would need to create with Islam Makhachev. You have to fight him.
I think that's the style that Oliveira brings next time is high-paced onslaught. I think Volkanovski kind of got too comfortable in there trying to clinch up with Makhachev. When I was watching it live, and the moment that I kind of felt like I don't like this for Volk is when he's trying to throw the knee up to the head, but he's like looks way too short. I don't know. It's just like a bad moment. And he looks like he had a little bit of weight on this side of the hips. Like it wasn't looking great, but he was still strong enough to be in the fight. But then on the outside, the kickboxing, I could see Makhachev was throwing a front kick early on and then reading those slips, which Volkanovski likes, and then perfect high kick. Holy shit.
Beautiful.
It was epic.
I mean, right over the glove. AJ, look at that replay. It literally touches the top of the glove and sails up to the head. Clearly, Volkanovski thought it was to the body, and it's incredible because Volkanovski trains with some phenomenal kickers, Dan Hooker and Israel Adesanya and Carlos Olberg, and I mean, and make no mistake, he spars with everybody. So I'm surprised that the head kick sailed up there.
I think it's the unexpected because it's like who's thinking Makhachev by high kick, you know? And I think Volkanovski, of all the weapons Makhachev had, I think he wasn't overly fearful of the kick up high. I think he was like, nah, what are the odds? Like it wasn't even on his mind, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was just in there freestyling a little bit and you know, just getting you know, he bit too hard to the body. He just assumed. And I was trying to look to see if Islam Makhachev was looking at his body because you could set people up like that, right? We saw George St. Pierre do this to Matt Hughes, where George looked at Matt's body, kicked him in the body, looked at his body, kicked him in the body, looked at his body, kicked him in the head. I was wondering if Islam set it up like that. He didn't. It truly was just a poor read by Volk.
And put him to bed. And now he's supposed to fight Topuria next. Possibly January. How does that go for him, Finch? Taking a bad KO loss. Am I the only one that's concerned about the durability going down?
I know it was a KO loss, but he's going to be okay. It wasn't like he took an absurd amount of damage. You know, it was one big shot and then a couple glancing blows while he was trying to gather himself. Notice he was still engaged on Islam's hips. I think if the ref didn't jump in right there, it's possible that Volk works himself back into the fight. It didn't look like he was out, right? It looked like he was very hurt, and I like the stoppage. I'm not saying that, but I do think he will be able to recover and give Topuria a very good fight. Topuria not known as much of a kicker, man. He tucks his chin, he keeps his hands up, he boxes. It seems like Volk can out-kick him as well as out-grapple him. I don't know. I would lean Volk, but Topuria is a fun challenge, and that fight probably just got even more interesting, and the odds just got even closer because of this adversity. So it's all still up and up for Volk. I think he needs to take some time off. His coaches, please, Craig Jones, everybody, keep him off the mat. Keep him out of the gym. Go home, Volk, chill. And when he's recovered after a couple weeks, I could imagine him putting in a good December camp and potentially fighting in January. Do you know when? January, 28th sounds better than January 2nd. You know what I mean?
Let me look at it. I don't know why. I'm thinking like January 15th. Let's see. The actual date that was potentially there. Let's get Tapology up. Where are we at over here? All right. Currently still booked for January 20th. It's a rumored fight to headline UFC 297 in Canada. I think there's a real chance he'll be ready for it. January 20th. Right now, he got knocked out on the 21st of October. So he's got all of November, all of December, and then a good nearly 3 weeks in January. So we got pretty much 3 months to the day out of the cage to then come back after a bad loss like that. It's possible, and I think he's going to do it. And if anybody can pull it off, it's Volkanovski.
I'm rooting for him, man. I mean, I agree with John Anik and everybody else who said it was hard to see him soak in that loss, What a good guy and what a real champion. I liked what Islam Makhachev said after the fight. He said, this guy has no quit in him. He will not quit. He is a real champion. I know I had to beat him like this because he's not going to give in. And that's true. Volkanovski's a real champ.
Yeah, real champ. Wadi with the dono, the $2.99 Aus. He says, when we get in the live watch party with you two.
Come on,
man,
AJ.
Listen, I'm stingy about these live streams. It's hard. I'll tell you something. If it was me and Mike sitting next to each other in person, it's way better. If you told us we're at a round table doing it, but when you're doing it across two people in different parts of the country, his stream is 2 seconds ahead of mine. Mine's 2 seconds before. Next thing you know it, you got Shitsville, USA. So that's the reason it's really not optimal, Waddy. But never say never. How about that? That's a good one for him.
Yeah, I would definitely like to do it in person sometime. So if I'm in Florida or if AJ's in California, that would be really cool, man.
Yes.
I'm with it.
Yes, let's go. We got a question in here. Where is it at? All right, AJ and Mike, when are your birthdays? Wondering what UFC events are on your birthday weekends. So 295 is the day before my birthday. Mine's the 12th of November. That card's the 11th. So that's a nice birthday gift. I'll be on stream when I turn 25 years of age.
My birthday is September 4th, so you guys just missed me. It was last month, but I'll take birthday gifts. Venmo at Mike Finch MMA. Thank you, family. Thank you. I appreciate it. AJ's is coming up.
Yeah,
good to know, AJ. All right, we're going to have to cook something up for him.
Yeah, listen, it's my birthday's coming. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not a crazy birthday fanatic, though. Like, I go out to dinner, whatever, but it's like, it's chill. It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I when I was a kid, I was maybe, I don't know, 14, 13, 12 in that area. And it would be my birthday. My dad would be like, go mow the lawn, go do this. They never gave a shit that it was my birthday. So I feel like as an adult, AJ, I always try to take the time to celebrate. My wife does it good for me. We take the time. So my birthday is actually a holiday.
Let's go. I like it, man. I like it. Listen, let's jump to the co-main. Let's talk about it. It was Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. We got 3 good rounds between these two, with Khamzat getting it on the scorecards. Listen, first round for Khamzat Chimaev only could have gone better if he got the finish. That was about as dominant as you can get it. To me, it was a clear 10-8, and he looked like he had Usman's number. I was like, wow, he's going to destroy Usman. But then round 2 comes, and Khamzat's volume drops. Usman's jab is working, and we got to fight. I thought that round 2 can definitely be scored Usman's way. I gave him that round. Even though Chimaev landed the late takedown, Usman had good moments in that round. Finch, are you thinking the same?
I thought Khamzat whooped his ass, dude. I feel like people are... I remember I read your video headline. My apologies, bro. I've had family in town. I was not able to watch it yet. I'm excited to. It says, Khamzat exposed? Question mark? Brother, Khamzat did not get exposed.
You didn't watch the video.
Good. He looked good. I like him changing stances. I like his whole thing, man. He's got a back on a back. I mean, he looks completely grown into middleweight. He looked great. He was working on Usman. I think the second round was close, I guess, but that first round was a 10-8 ass whooping. I mean, can we compliment Kamaru? When he shoots in, he's deep on that single, but Usman sprawls hard. What does he do? He brings that single leg up super high, so Usman's like on his tippy toes, on the balls of his feet. He steps through and he sweeps that leg out. It was beautiful. His wrestling is beautiful to watch. That's something Colby Covington wasn't doing. That's something plenty of other wrestlers could only dream of doing to Kamaru Usman, and he was getting bullied by Khamzat. So all credit goes to Khamzat, man. He looked great. And yeah, he starts to slow down a little bit. We told you that before the fight happened. Of course, we said it's a 3-round fight. This is a good thing for Khamzat because he is a drag race car. He's going to come out like he's shot out of a cannon. I'm literally quoting myself on Monday's show before the event happened. It's exactly what happened, guys. We know this, AJ. No, I was not surprised. Kamaru Usman's a champion. Yeah, he started, landing a couple strikes, but he didn't really do shit in the second round. It wasn't crazy. In the third round, yeah, he was banging with him a little bit, but he knew it was too little too late. AJ, Kamaru got worked.
Kamaru definitely lost the fight. I scored it for Khamzat all day. And I feel like round 3 was definitely Khamzat's round, so I scored it 29-27. I think that the way he bullied Kamaru Usman in the grappling in the first round, a vast majority of guys are not going to be able to survive on the floor. You have to credit Usman's incredible ground skills for the reason that he took, those positions and survived. If you throw somebody else in there with Khamzat Chimaev at 85 even, let's say he's fighting Sean Strickland next because Dana White said yes. It seems like that's the direction they're going. Chimaev now beating Usman. He's in that perennial superstar status type of spot, taking on Sean Strickland for the belt in 2024. What's interesting there, if Sean Strickland survives, I believe he would be live in rounds 3, 4, and 5 to knock Khamzat Chimaev out. The problem is, I think that Khamzat's first and second round grappling onslaught is going to be so difficult for Sean Strickland. I know he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, but he doesn't have near the wrestling capabilities of Kamaru Usman. I could see Chimaev subbing him. We know that in training, supposedly Chimaev subbed up Sean Strickland a bit. And if they're in the cage, odds are Chimaev's going to finish that fight early, I think. But if we go late, though, if Sean Strickland is able to survive, I'll never doubt him on the feet. I think he could hurt Khamzat.
And Sean Strickland said, hey, he doesn't deserve the fight, but I'll give it to him. Props to Sean Strickland. AJ, I'll get to that in 1 second. Can we put this to bed? Charles Barkley, bring him up. Khamzat Chimaev didn't look good. What are you smoking? He did nothing after round 1. First of all, I live in California. We're smoking the best God has ever made out here, okay? Maybe that doesn't help my case, but I just want to let you know, Charles Barkley. And what did Khamzat do? Khamzat took him down again. Khamzat was there striking with him all very, very competitively. This idea that he was going to get blown out of the water. Go to the next one. Hang on. It's Zero Balance MMA. Bob, oh, no, it's not. Beavis and Butthead. 5 rounds. Usman would have taken over for sure. For sure, he couldn't stop a damn takedown unless Khamzat was shooting from halfway across the cage. Yes, a couple times Khamzat shot from too far away, and Usman was able to get out of the way. But what was he, 50% on his takedown defense? Mr. 99% takedown defense for his whole career, or whatever the stat was. He was going to continue to get beaten by Khamzat, signs showed. Now, Khamzat is a drag car, so yes, Khamzat's going to 10-8 you in the first round and then not do that again. But there was no for sure sign that he was going to get his ass whooped. Khamzat was right there with him. Even at the end when they were banging, Khamzat landed a couple shots. Khamzat knew he was up. He remembered what happened in that first round. He's not in a vacuum out there. He knows he's up. So, yeah, man. I think it's overblown. You guys are being too hard on Khamzat. He's not, he's not the Holy Spirit. This guy is not a deity, okay? He's just a human being, and I do believe that he clearly won the fight. And regardless, this idea that for sure he was about to get beaten 4 and 5, bullshit. You think that, AJ?
I think that it would have been interesting 4 and 5.
Yes, it was competitive, but competitive is not a for sure L.
No, for sure. I think Usman 4 and 5, depending on how Khamzat comes out, but you got to think there's guys, they get their second wins. Let's not forget, guys have looked slowed down in rounds 2 and 3 and come on strong in 4 and 5. So we don't know what Khamzat in those championship rounds is going to look like. And I, for one, am very excited to eventually see it. Now, we might never see it because it's going to be crazy difficult for people to deal with Khamzat's grappling onslaught unless they are credentialed grapplers. Like, I feel like Usman, very credentialed grappler, goes distance. Another guy, Gilbert Burns, extremely good jiu-jitsu, goes distance. But if you look at the other fights for Khamzat, when he takes on even skilled guys like Ikram Aliskerov outside of the UFC, he chins them. So we got a lot of fights on the horizon for Khamzat. It seems like Sean Strickland is what's going to be next. And I think that stylistically, you got to favor Khamzat Chimaev's chances to get it to the ground and for him to get a finish by submission. Now, I love me some Sean Strickland. I mean, the biggest upset we'd seen in a very long time, taking out Israel Adesanya and bullying him for 5 rounds. I love the fight of Strickland Khamzat, but I also really like the idea of Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev for the fact that du Plessis is such a fucking powerhouse. He's so physically strong. That's a matchup that intrigues me a lot too, man.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Dricus du Plessis, huge. He's huge, bro. I don't know. These 185ers with Khamzat's interesting because Khamzat was always such a weight bully at 170. That's why I thought plan A for Khamzat, let him win the belt at 170, then he moves up to 185. I think that was plan A. Then when you got the weight miss with Nate Diaz, and somehow we ended up here. look, it's a huge win over Khamzat Chimaev. I want to go back to the Sean Strickland fight. Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev. Sign me up. Of course we want to see this shit. And I like that Sean's already like, he doesn't deserve it. And I'll give it to him anyway. Like, perfect, man. Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Build-up's going to be insane. Fight's going to be even better.
I think that it's a dope fight. And I think 2024, is it in the USA? That's a big thing. Are they going to make Sean Strickland travel to, the desert? I don't know. I would lean no. I think they might do it in America.
The desert. I feel like that brings us to the next fight pretty nicely.
It's gonna.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Khamzat in Abu Dhabi, that sounded good to me. That looked good to me. But Khamzat likes Vegas. So, I mean, Sean Strickland's the Vegas guy. I think we might have to do Vegas.
I like Vegas. I like it in Vegas. Any news about Khamzat hand injury after round 1?
I see you guys saying it was broken. I don't know. Was it?
They said his wrist was broken, but it's, nothing extra. Hand injury. Let's see. Is any new news dropped? Says he broke his hand in the first round. Likely broken. Nothing new on it, though, in the past day. Everything's from 2 days ago, which is fight night. I feel like I believe it. I don't think he'd be lying about it. And he still was able to win the fight. So, hey, maybe Khamzat Chimaev's better than we've seen, and he broke his hand early. We were going to find out
another
more.
reason to get off of his jock.
Mm-hmm.
You fools.
Yeah.
Get off of him, man. That's one of the best fighters in the world right there. Cinderella story, he would have won both titles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cinderella story. I mean, he is clearly, such a bully at 170. I feel like he's not going to make it anymore. Like, now that he's put on the muscle for 85, AJ, you saw his back.
Yeah,
like, dude, I think he's done making 70 for life.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's grown out of that weight class. It's 85 from here on out. Now, let's talk something, though. Usman, before we jump to the next fight. Do you think we do Usman sticking around at 85? Because I thought he looked pretty strong. And, considering not having a full camp, I'm kind of curious to see how he'd fare against some of the best guys in the world at 85.
Hell yeah. I mean, whatever he wants to do, right?
That's what I think. What do you think, though? He called out Duplessis.
I like it. Hell yeah. Set that shit up, especially since Duplessis on ice right now. If Khamzat gets the shot, Dana said it. Khamzat wants it. Sean accepted it. Probably going to happen. So, yeah, keep Duplessis busy. I love it. Let's go.
Usman Duplessis, too. It's the Battle of Africa, obviously, without Adesanya in the picture, right? This is Usman.
It does keep the Africa storyline going. I like it. Although Usman has less of a claim. I mean, he went to school in Florida. Where'd he go to school? I mean, he's a U.S. boy. I mean, whether he moved here when he was a child or not, the reason why he wrestles like that is because of colleges in the U.S. of A. No, they could claim it. It'll be the same battle, though. It'll be the same drama. Drickus, like, I grew up in South Africa. I'm a real African. They could battle that shit out.
I gotta bring up Charles Barkley again. Every time someone has an underwhelming performance without fail, had an injury in the first round, it's always the first round. I gotta sell you in Brooklyn if you believe that. That's funny. I think that we gotta take them at his word. I'm gonna take their word. I'm gonna believe it, man. I think that I think Khamzat Chimaev put on a really good performance because the guy he beat up until, last year when he lost to Leon Edwards was literally unbeaten inside of his entire UFC run, taking out everyone. So him beating Kamaru Usman is a huge accolade. Like, I think even me, everybody, we forget that Usman was beating Leon Edwards in their rematch. The trilogy, sure, he cleanly lost. But nonetheless, he's still one of the best fighters in the world. And you could argue that not having that weight cut to 170, this is a better version of Usman at 85. Now, short notice, sure. I want to see him fight Duplessis. I'm in on that fight. That would be dope.
AJ with the matchmaker hat on, I'm with it too. I like it.
Let's go.
I mean, I feel like there's some movement in that 85 division, but yeah, if Khamzat wants to, or if Kamaru Usman wants to stay there, he looked good there. He's a big boy too.
Yeah, I'm in. Count me in. Let's get to the featured bout. It was Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev. And man, it ended so abruptly. And I think that the doctor made a mistake being way too overzealous to stop the fight. Reason is this. Yes, that knee was blatantly illegal, and I believe Johnny Walker could have been slightly dazed from that knee landing. But you give the guy 5 minutes, or at least give him 4 minutes, and then you ask him the questions. But to ask someone who English is their second language, is in the middle of a fist fight, and they're in a part of the world that, maybe he doesn't know the exact country. So he says, I'm fighting in the desert. Instead of saying I'm in Abu Dhabi, which wouldn't be it. What is it? What is the actual country? United Arab Emirates, UAE. So it's like, if he wouldn't have said UAE, is he wrong? If he would have said Abu Dhabi, they're stopping the fight either way. It was a weird one because I think you should have gave him some time. And then after, we almost got a brawl inside of the cage. It was funny seeing even Ankalaev start running at him too.
Yeah. Yeah, he started biting on it too. He's like, all right, you want to fight me? We're fighting. I trained to fight today. We're going to fight then. I think it was because Johnny Walker was like zoning out a little bit. Like, it's like when the doctor was talking to him, Johnny Walker was kind of not quick on it. Now, I think Dana White hit the nail on the head. The language barrier. Give him some time. Hear what he has to say. There's 5 minutes. You don't have to call it right away. Why is the doctor waving it off? He was way too hot on the trigger. That doctor, you heard DC freaking out. He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty bad. I hope that doctor never steps foot in the cage again.
We can only hope. I don't know. Like, I guess it's because Abu Dhabi, it's a newer market for the UFC. I guess we got a less experienced doctor, but when you have huge fights, can't have mistakes like that. To me, the issue then lies upon this. That is a disqualification. Why is it that it was a no contest? I think that knee landing, regardless of it being accidental, is a blatantly illegal strike. If I accidentally knee someone in the head when that's against the rules, now I get a no contest. It's almost like that's a soft way to let him off. That's a disqualification. Now, I think that because Johnny Walker was so able and ready to fight. So let's just say Johnny Walker instead is, I'm so hurt, I'm knocked out. Are then we giving it a disqualification? But because he seemed ready and able to fight, but the doctor said he wasn't able to, it's a no contest. That doesn't make sense to me, because if you look, then Aljamain Sterling would have never been champ.
Right. I believe it's whether or not they deem it intentional or not. And, I don't like how Aljamain Sterling became champ. I mean, you heard me saying it a couple weeks ago. I don't like incentivizing these guys to say, oh, shit, that was an illegal strike. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to fight tonight, Doc. I'm going to take this win bonus. I don't think it's good to incentivize fighters to milk it. We don't want to be soccer. I don't want this to be the NBA. He pushed me, come on, man. We want to avoid that. So maybe the no contest was the better thing. Or is that what they did? No contest was the better thing. Yeah. I don't know. You know what the better thing would have been? Letting them fight, having a doctor in there who's competent, having Johnny Walker not say the desert. There was just I think the language barrier is the first thing to understand, and the doctor clearly did not give him that leeway. So this was a mistake. This was wrong for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I want to see them rebooked because I think the fight was just getting interesting. And Johnny Walker, I mean, he had a couple moments early. Sure, he got stung to the body big, and he ended up getting controlled and taken down. But who's to say how that fight would have went? So I want to see this fight rebooked. I think this is a main event. I think this is a 5-round fight you can do on a fight night card. And I feel like maybe that early December card needs it. So I'd bring this one in.
The Bob says they should match up Johnny Walker and the doctor in the next UFC. Holy shit, the line on that one.
The doctor's, I mean, does he have the right to stop the fight? Because then we got him at minus 1,000.
Then he might get the dub. That's a solid point, AJ. Right. Thank you for that.
Listen, this fight here ended, unfortunately. It pissed me off because I was really getting excited for this matchup, but it is what it is. I want to jump down one more because this one here was a showcase fight. Ikram Aliskerov absolutely destroyed Elves, absolutely destroyed him. Do you think Ikram Aliskerov is a future title challenger, Mike Finch?
He's a beast, man. He's more confident in his hands than we've ever seen. Like how heavy he punches, and he really goes for it. Like if you saw that finishing combination started with the jab, and look how he steps on that jab. So many people throw jabs out there without being very serious about it. You could see how long he is and how he steps and he commits to that power jab. Bang, puts it down the pipe. It's a real shot. When a shot hits you like that, you're really gonna feel it. You'll definitely notice the difference between like a flick jab, like a lot of people throw, and when people try to throw that jab like a piston. And that's Aliskerov. He really put that down, and then he put the 1-2 on him, and he put him away. He's got knees, he's got punches, he's got all types of weapons on the feet, and he's a wrestler. He's a dog with the wrestling. So yeah, Aliskerov's a problem. I could see him beating Sean Strickland. I could see Aliskerov being a problem in the division for sure.
I like it, man. He's a badass dude. Knockout power, A1 wrestler. Looks like Khabib and Islam Makhachev mesh DNAs. That's what I see when I look at Aliskerov. And he laid out Warley Alves in brutal fashion. And the jab really did set everything up, man. He's a heavy-handed motherfucker. Stiffest of jabs. If he touches you with that jab, he can put you out. Now, granted, Warley Alves, former welterweight, not a top guy in the world, but it's the way you beat him. Aliskerov ran him over. What's next for Ikram Aliskerov? I like the Nasruddin Imavov fight. I think that's a cool matchup. We rebooked that. I think stylistically, it's a fight that the power really favors Aliskerov, and you got to lean his way with the wrestling too. I think he'd be a fairly big favorite after this one, -200, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be up there at the top of the division, AJ. We got to see him start fighting some contenders. I think DC was right on the mic. It's time to put him up there now. Let's start seeing what he could do at a higher level. Yeah, Aliskerov is dangerous, and I threw him in a parlay as well. So we were doing good. We made money over here at the Finch household. Thank you, Aliskerov.
Let's go. Listen, my lock hit too, man. So I'm cruising. I was doing good.
What's the lock streak now?
9 in a row, bro.
Woo!
Yeah. 9 in a row. I'm excited for next week, man. I wish we had it this week.
Beautiful. Beautiful, AJ. Keep it rolling, buddy. I couldn't make it to 10. AJ's got to make it to 10.
Let's go. We're doing it. We're doing it. Now, starting off the main card, it was Said Nurmagomedov versus Muin Gafurov. Said ninja choked him. Granted, they call it the guillotine, but the way he did it's ninja choke style. We got to put some respect on that name. Nurmagomedov's strangles are absolutely awesome. And it's crazy to see Gafurov just dive in like that for a takedown, which I thought was possible. But when you study a little bit about Nurmagomedov, he can snatch up next. I mean, Sadyokub Kakramanov is one of the best bantamweights outside of the UFC because he was released after his loss to Said Nurmagomedov, but he was winning that fight and then he got caught in that strangle. So I think Said, you got to put some respect on his fucking name. His loss recently is to Jonathan Martinez, and he was competitive in that fight. And look how good Martinez just did against Yanez. I think Said's a problem still. I think he's a legit top 15 guy at bantamweight.
Can we all take a moment and just replay AJ calling this fight exactly how it was going to happen? AJ did not just call the winner. He told you guys it was going to be a guillotine, and sure enough, it happens in the first round. AJ perfectly called. Yes, this one was my lock, and man, was it a one-sided ass whooping. Said Nurmagomedov has some nasty, deep chokes, and I like how he lines up the bicep with the artery, the forearm with the artery. It's a rear naked choke from the front. It is a nasty choke, and perfectly called by you, my friend.
Listen, I feel like I thought I said decision earlier in the week, and then I think on this show I said guillotine.
You said guillotine.
Let's go. It worked out, right? I'm like, damn, son. Nurmagomedov is that dude, though. Like, I still believe in him. I think everybody kind of writes him off here and there. He's like the forgotten Dagestani. Just because he doesn't train with the same team as Khabib and he's got the last name doesn't mean he doesn't have the skills. Gafurov was outgunned badly. Yeah. This was a fight that honestly went exactly as it should have, and I'm putting Nurmagomedov in there against some decent guys. Like, I want to see him fight good fighters more.
he made Gaffarov shoot with his neck out. Gaffarov wanted to get one of those positions against the fence. He was trying to like, put him down, or rather he's trying to get to him, but he couldn't put the scope of the rifle on him. He couldn't find him. So he had to just shoot in there. All right, stop moving around, please. Left his neck out for a second. Saeed Nurmagomedov is mobile. He's so loose with his hips, with his kicks, and he's got some nasty, nasty grappling. Man, I'm impressed.
I'm impressed, bro. Tiratu Paku, I'm impressed too. Thank you for the $5 Australian. Hey guys, Saeed was my lock. 3 units on Moneyline, 1 unit on sub. What a pick. Let's go. Congrats, my dog. That's great.
Let's go, buddy. We had it right, my friend. Glad you're on board with it. Brother, did we make some money on Saturday or what? I had myself a good day as well. Thank you so much for the $5.
Let's go. Let's go, Tiratu Paku. Listen, Finch, is there prelims you want to talk about? Anything you're into? I think
what I'm into. There's a heavyweight boxing match coming up, and I was in Las Vegas last week, and I got to look at the Sphere, and the Sphere is this giant screen, and it was the Earth at first when I was coming up, and I was like, what is this? Is insane. And as I got closer, they changed it to the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury fight, and they were just kind of like spinning around like cartoon characters. It was some incredible visual experience going on there, and I'm excited for it. It's cool that Francis got the fight. I know Dana White hates it, but listen, this was the better one. I think this is going to be better than a John Jones versus Tyson Fury, which is what Dana was offering, right? He tried to swipe it out there, say, hey, man, you want to fight John Jones in the UFC? Let's do it. No, Tyson Fury wants to drag somebody over to boxing, and he did that with Francis Ngannou. So it'll be a cool one, man. I wish Francis the best. I got to say, though, from watching these pad rounds, watching him training with Mike Tyson, watching the way he's moving, there are levels to the boxing game, and Tyson Fury's on a whole other one.
Tyson Fury is the cream of the crop, dude. Tyson Fury is that dude. And I think that we're in for probably a one-sided fight. But goddamn, if anybody can pull off some craziness like this, it's a guy that came from Cameroon with nothing, homeless, going to Morocco, living in the woods, and then crossing over and finding his way to France and, eventually to America and becoming the UFC heavyweight champion. So he's here in the biggest moment ever of his life. I mean, granted, I guess winning the UFC belt was the biggest moment, but really this feels like the biggest moment because the dollar signs are as large as they're ever going to get. Fighting Tyson Fury is the payday of a lifetime. Francis Ngannou will never have to fight. He doesn't have to probably fight now, but he will never have to fight again after stepping in there with Tyson Fury. Now, him deciding to probably at least fight a couple times in MMA afterwards is sensible, but don't be shocked if he decides to jump back in the boxing realm, specifically if Francis Ngannou has any bit of success. Now, what Mike said is very valid. He does not look crisp when he's boxing, hitting pads, or even when he's ripping the bag. But one thing that we have to admit is he has a lot of punching power, and something that MMA fighters specifically have that a lot of, professional boxers don't see often is more looping shots, right? The way the punches come out are a little bit different. Now, I think that Tyson Fury is one of those guys that's the highest of levels. I don't think a looping shot from far away is something that Fury doesn't see. I think he sees it and he counters it. So really, I think Fury's going to be picking Francis apart, and I think he's stopping him. I'm thinking like 5th round knockout for Tyson Fury. But damn, son, can you imagine a world where Ngannou finds the chin, biggest upset of all time?
It would be heavyweight. It wouldn't be the McGregor-Mayweather fight. Conor hit him with a nice uppercut to the neck, but it wouldn't be. You would expect it with big clobbering heavyweights. I mean, this is why Deontay Wilder was the king of the WBC for years, because you don't have to be the most technical fighter. You could just put a bomb on somebody and let it detonate. And the problem for Francis Ngannou will be the delivery system. We know he's got the package. He's got the bomb. He could set anybody off, but he has to deliver that package. And I don't think it gets to the front door. I do think that Tyson Fury is going to be able to box circles around him. I don't know if you saw the sit down they had across from each other. Did you see the recent interview?
Yep.
AJ watched it. That's why he's an expert, folks. All right, I watched it as well, and I loved the question that Tyson Fury asked him. Tyson said, Francis, you're saying that my management negotiated for a larger boxing ring. Do you think I'm going to run around the ring from you? Do you think I'm going to move away? Because I'm coming right for you. And you know what? I bet he's telling the truth. I think Tyson Fury goes right towards him, blocks, slips shots, and punches him until Francis gets tired, and then he puts him away.
Yeah, I think he's going to knock out Francis. I think it's going to be a brutal KO. I think it's going to be vicious, like the Wilder Fury rematch, that fight, the second bout. I think it's a KO on the feet. I think 5 rounds in, I think Francis Ngannou is going to look noticeably slower than Tyson Fury as well. This isn't as crisp with the boxing. And when you got the 10-ounce gloves on, like the looping shots that he was able to land against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, those are never going to get through with somebody like Tyson Fury, specifically Tyson Fury with boxing gloves on too. So the space between shots, like you need more space. You're fighting with those MMA gloves. You have this, you can still get through. With boxing, we got these up. I'm covering, I'm chilling. I think that the side of Francis Ngannou is going to show heart. I think he does get up from the canvas, and I think he's really going to want to win, but I think he's going to end up getting TKO'd. He's going to just be unable to continue.
Yeah, I do believe that he will come forward. And you make a very interesting point that I don't think a lot of people understand. There's an art to smothering punches, and Tyson Fury is very good at it. If you throw a looping shot at him, a lot of times he'll smother it. He'll come forward, so you can't quite get the shot off with power. He did it a lot to Deontay Wilder in the second and third fight. There's sometimes where he just bully him right into the ropes or right into the turnbuckle, and he'll just put his forehead in there. That's because he's going to be too close for you to hit him, right? You could either be too far away to get hit or too close to get hit, and Tyson likes to go into drive. So if the car's in drive puts Francis on the back foot, he takes away that power that way too. You know, Francis, again, emphasizing that he thinks that, you know, Tyson personally negotiated for the bigger ring, but Tyson might do better in a small ring because they're boxing. It's not MMA. You can't just catch somebody with stupid shots. I shouldn't say can't. Obviously,
Probably won't.
Francis Ngannou is one of the most gifted punchers of all time. You guys hear it every time we open the show. What does AJ say at the open of the show?
Francis
Ngannou, the hardest puncher in history, right?
Yeah.
It'll take that, but it'll also take setting that shot up. I don't think he gets the setup right, and I think Tyson Fury whoops his ass. Good for Francis making a nice payday, and AJ, I hope he comes back to MMA after this.
I think there's a high chance he does. Now, the odds for the fight, it's plus 1,040 for Ngannou with Fury at minus 2,000. But where things get interesting, though, you look, okay, how does he get it done? Fury to win in rounds 4 to 5 right now, or rather 3 to 4, we have it plus 240. 5 to 6. Dang, they don't have the one that I want. I want 5 to 6. We don't have it up yet. Fury wins rounds 3, 4. Damn, they don't have the whole slew of props out yet, actually. But I think Fury is very live to win this fight by knockout in rounds 5 to rounds 8. I would be kind of surprised if we enter 10. If we're in the 10th round, I'm surprised. I'm like, whoa, Francis Ngannou made it this far. That's huge. If Ngannou goes the distance, that is massive. That is a win in itself if he goes distance. To be honest, if he goes past 5 rounds, that's huge. If you see him in round 7, 8, and 9, like that's big. I don't think there's a high chance of it. I think he's getting hit too much, man.
I don't think that's big. I think that's strategic, AJ. Like, that's what Floyd Mayweather did to Conor McGregor. I think it's a very smart approach when you're a professional fighting an amateur. Stretch it out a little bit. Tyson Fury should let him hit his gloves a little bit, put some pressure on him, hang on him in the clinch, slow him down a little bit, and then try to kill him after 5, AJ. So if you're coaching Francis Ngannou, I'd tell him, hey, man, first 2 rounds, that's where this shit's dangerous. After round 5, it's not even dangerous anymore. So I would be instructing Tyson Fury to go knock him out in the 7th round. Would you disagree?
No, it makes sense what you're saying. Don't rush the knockout because Francis is dangerous in the first 4. Most dangerous. Let him wear out. 6, 7, and 8. He's pretty much a dead fish in there.
That's when you get him out of there. And that's what you saw strategically happen. You know, a lot of people, I keep coming back to the damn fight, but I guess it's a good comparison since it was MMA champ versus the boxer, right? Boxing champ. a lot of people still to this day say Floyd took it easy on Conor. Oh, he was making a show out of it. Yeah, bullshit. You step in the ring with a champion fighter and make a show of it and take it easy on them. No, he was doing the strategic, smartest thing he could do, which is let the offense shoot from Conor, let that shit slow down, and then take the fight over. There's a strategy to it, and boxing has so many more rounds than MMA. You can afford to lose some rounds. So Floyd was happy to give those rounds to Conor, not so you had a fun time watching at home. He gave those rounds to Conor because he knew Conor would empty his gas tank and that he could then pour it on. And you make the person vulnerable by doing that. It's the same game plan Nate Diaz had against Conor McGregor. And you can see that Francis Ngannou has been sucking wind before. I mean, you could see him in some fights get tired, and you see him sprint sometimes. The Rosenstruik fight AJ brought up. I mean, sometimes Francis Ngannou just goes maximum RPM. So make him lay on the gas. After you make him shoot his 20 hardest punches, by the time he's shooting power punch number 40, it's just not going to be that hard, and Tyson Fury is going to put him out. I will predict that Tyson Fury does put him out in 7, 8, or 9.
I like that 7, 8, or 9 knockout for Tyson Fury. Listen, it's a potential bet for you guys because that prop's going to be available. Right now, Fury by KO straight is minus 490. So we don't have all that much love. But if you did want to go Fury 7 and 8, I have this available at plus 800. And then Fury in just round 7 straight plus 1200. Round 8 plus 2200, and then round 5 plus 650, round 6 plus 950. Or rather, no, it's for fight ending in those rounds, which at the end of the day is still valuable props. I'm excited for the whole slew of props. Let me say this real quick, Mike. I think that some don't recognize the talent that this card is bringing. This is a showcase card for a lot of up-and-coming heavyweight boxers. I'm going to name the matchups that I think are definitely worth watching. Fabio Wardley versus David Adelaide. These are two English heavyweights that have real championship potential. 16-0 Wardley, 12-0 Adelaide. It's a honestly great boxing match. I'm super interested. It's 12 rounds for the British title. And then you look at the fight before that, Joseph Parker versus Simon Keane. Joseph Parker, former world title challenger. Simon Keane looks to be somebody to keep an eye on the come up right now. He's got a record of 23-1. And if he beats Joseph Parker, he's emerging in the upper echelon. And then you dig a little bit more down the card, Martin Bakoli versus Carlos Takam. At the end of the day, rather Takam, bro. I can't say his name right. I think Bakoli's a big powerhouse. That's a dope fight. 19-1. Bakoli versus veteran Carlos Takam. Dude, there's like some good boxing matches. I'm getting excited looking at this. Arslanbek Makhmudov, who is a fighter from Russia, and he's been in UFC fighters' corners before. He's fighting Junior Anthony Wright. Makhmudov is probably going to run him out of the fucking ring, and I'm very excited for that matchup too.
Hey, those are good fights. No, I was sleeping on the card too, AJ. Those are exciting heavyweight matchups.
It's all heavyweights. Every fight is a heavyweight fight, and they're stacking it with guys. Like, if you're on this card as a heavyweight boxer and you want to become a name in the sport, this card right here is a huge opportunity. And I think the MMA fans that are going to be watching might become bigger boxing fans if we got some impressive heavyweights, because I feel like heavyweight boxing, when it's at its best, is something that all fight fans love. It's so much fun. Heavyweight one shot changes everything, you know?
Ernie's been bringing up how Mike Tyson has been training Francis Ngannou. Look, they're so different, and Mike Tyson has addressed it. Mike Tyson has said, "Look, I'm not teaching him to fight like me. I'm so much shorter than these guys." And Francis Ngannou is what, 6'5"? I don't know. He's a monster. So he's not teaching him that peekaboo style quite like Mike was doing it, but you have to really emphasize, like, there's a big difference in styles between the two. So I don't know how good it is that Mike Tyson is training Francis Ngannou, but I like that it's a good card. AJ, I'll be watching, and I'm not going to give nothing away, but there is a UFC card next week, and there's a good heavyweight fight on that one too.
Listen, Mike Finch is saving it for you guys next week. Yes. But if you've watched my videos, I did drop the picks. My early leans potentially could change, but probably going to stay the same. I'll drop my main event thoughts. I think Jailton Almeida is going to submit Derek Lewis. I think he's going to do similarly to what Sergey Spivak was able to do with Derek Lewis, and that is exploit the grappling. Derek Lewis is a very physically strong guy, but uses his strength, right, to negate the grappling of some opponents. When you have somebody with the technical capabilities of Jailton Almeida, those mistakes can potentially cost you an arm. They can definitely cost you the fight. I think that Jailton's going to sub him up. I look forward to a more in-depth chat next week about that. But, we still got to drop the early main event take. And then there's also another fight on the card that gets me very excited. It's Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Elizeu Zaleski. That's a dope matchup. And then co-main event, Gabriel Bonfim, Nicholas Dalby, which is a huge spot for Bonfim to shine on, man.
Yeah, Armin Petrosyan, Rodolfo Viera is dope.
Yeah.
Too bad Curtis Blades is off the card. That would have been fun.
That would have been a good fight. And we could have saw what Jailton would look like against somebody with good grappling in their own right, whereas Derek Lewis, big knockout puncher, never been known for his jiu-jitsu.
And then the next week, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska. Brother.
That's huge. That's going to be a dope weekend. I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to having the UFC up and running again next week. Even though we got an off week, I'm still going to be dropping content here, guys. I'm dropping the full card predictions for the boxing card. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm kind of thinking I'll drop them Wednesday, which is the day I normally do this week's Best MMA Bets. We'll drop a full card boxing breakdown. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how I do picking the boxing matches. And maybe I can snipe out an underdog, but damn, son, boxing, bro. It's hard to find these dogs sometimes with these especially these heavyweight fights.
Especially in boxing. The matchmaking is so much better in MMA. I hope you guys realize how spoiled we are with our favorite sport, because the matchmaking is just incredible. Makes it so much harder to do the job that AJ and I do for y'all.
Yeah, which is a blast, though. I like the
these
challenge.
Damn fights. Yeah, in boxing, the favorites win very often. Managers really look out for their guys, and it's much more about the individual. In MMA, especially in the UFC, I mean, the best fight the best, and it's all about the UFC. It's not about the individual fighters as much, right? So just a different game entirely. That's why people are like pissed off at Tyson Fury. Man, you should be fighting Usyk. I can't believe you're doing this fight, but they're going to do what makes sense for them. This is going to make a lot of money for them on Saturday.
A lot of money, a lot of views. I'm tuning in. I'm doing a fight companion for it. I'll be live.
Ooh.
So I'm bringing the heat, man. I'm telling you, I'm coming out guns blazing. Heavyweight boxing card. I think that we're going to get some sick knockouts. So I gotta be here for it. Also note, UFC 5 dropped today, man. I just downloaded it. I was playing it a little bit before we went live, man. It's pretty smooth on the feet. I like the striking.
Yeah, okay, I got to try it out, man. I used to like the old UFC games where you'd like burn a hand in your palm from circling the damn, So no, I'd like to check out the new UFC game. I'm still on my PS4 is still kicking, bro. Is it like PS5 only?
PS5 only, bro. I had to upgrade. I just got it. I just got the PS5 today shipped. I ordered it.
Is it worth it? Is it better?
To be honest with you, from what I've seen right now, I mean, it has the game that I want, UFC 5. It runs pretty smooth, but like, it's like one of those things where my PS4 is working great too. Really, if they dropped UFC 5 on the PS4, maybe I wouldn't have, but it's a PS5 only, man. PS5, Xbox Series X.
Yeah, I would consider it if my PS4 wasn't perfect. Like it does everything I want it to do. I use it for everything.
Right.
The PS4 is awesome. So shout out to PlayStation, Microsoft. Good job.
Yeah, they do a good fucking job, man. Isn't it Sony that does PlayStation actually? You said Microsoft. I'm thinking you're trying Xbox over here.
Whoa. PlayStation. Is it Sony? Why did I think it was is Microsoft the Xbox?
Xbox, yeah.
Oh, damn, I gave credit where credit was not due. Actually, the Xbox is great too. I used to love playing Xbox. I played Call of Duty on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I play Madden. I was good at Madden on the Xbox.
That's classic.
Right.
Bro, I think that games these days, right, like they improve at a different rate. It's a slower process of seeing them get better because back in the day, there was so much room for improvement. Like I remember when the PS3 came out and I was playing NBA 2K, the same one that I had played on the PS2. And I'm like, what the the fuck? This is like, the graphics can't get better than this. And I remember a buddy of mine saying that about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas back in fucking 2000, whatever. I'm a little kid. I'll be honest, I was on San Andreas at like 7 years old, man. I might be fucked up. I like
That's the new one for me. I was on Vice City. You've ever played Grand Theft Auto Vice City?
Yeah, I have it, bro.
That was my shit. That's when I was like obsessed. I would play Vice City all day, I beat that game, and then I would just still play it every day. I was completely obsessed with Grand Theft Auto Vice City. San Andreas came out. I thought, it's not as good as Vice City.
That's great. Vice City had the vibes, man. It was
Vice City was it. I know that map like the back of my hand. I could jump a Ferrari right over that river right now.
That's great, man. I'm ready for Grand Theft Auto 6 if we're talking games, man. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, well, my buddy Sam still plays that stuff. AJ, I swear I can't play games anymore. I'll get obsessed, you know? I'm obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I just freaking hurt my neck this morning over at AOJ Colabate's class. I just get obsessed with things. So if I start playing a new game, like if I get the PS5, I'm scared to know how many hours I'll be on that thing.
Fucking hilarious.
I need to focus, bro.
We'll have Mike Finch coming on the stream with a little like cheese left over on his face. He's eating Cheetos all night. His eyes are
talking to you and kind of, you know.
Yeah, I'm playing.
I can't do it, buddy. I can't do it. I gotta focus. So no PS5 for me. Don't even tell me if it's good.
All right, I won't tell you nothing. Listen, guys, we appreciate you all tuning in for the off week show. It was a lot of fun chatting it up with my guy, Mike Finch, a nice hour of bullshit and banter. Shout out to UFC. Shout out to UFC Hawaii, you know. Shout out to the people over there, man. Nice show.
Hell yeah. Thank you for coming through, AJ. Good to see you on a Monday as usual. I'm glad we had a moment to exhale after that card because I think some things needed to be talked about. And, you know, I think a lot of stocks rose, specifically Islam Makhachev's. And so Islam Makhachev, man, I hope he stays active now. I hope it's Gaethje. I hope it's Poirier. I hope he gets some big fights here because we want to see the Oliveira fight again, too, in Brazil. And, you know, I just feel like his stock went through the roof there. And, you know, Khamzat versus Strickland. I think we got a lot of fun shit after Saturday. So
I agree.
Happy to hang out with you. I'll be gone this week, AJ. So I'm going to be in Yosemite National Park. All right. And I'm going all out. I'm going up 2,000 feet high on Taft Point, however high Taft Point is. I'm going to be on the edge of the mountain right there. So wish me luck, folks. Hopefully I got good balance.
Nice. Listen, I'm rooting for your balance. Pick them. We just dropped some early leans. We're doing the full thing next week. This was, you know, an early preview and catch up on what happened this past weekend type of show.
Beavis and Butthead dropped it like 4 times, so I'm going to bring it up. Finch, that's me. Are you going to see AJ for his birthday? And are you going to submit him and make him tap? Brother, first of all, AJ and I are on the same team, but I will say this. AJ, if you could do like an Alex Jones, Craig Jones, I'll choke you unconscious on the stream, I'm in for that.
You know what, man? I'm passing on that 100%. I got choked out before like that by my brother, and I went out, and then waking up from that, it was a weird experience. It's like you don't even know what just happened, dude. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Guys, I tried, guys. Would that not be some content? Who wants to see AJ go out? Raise
Probably
your
everybody
hand.
In the chat.
Put a hand up in the chat. I want to see it in the comments. Put a hand up if you want to see AJ go out.
That's fair. That's fair. The hands are going to go through the roof, and we got 100 hands already. I would rather get tapped in a true grappling position where I can at least choose to try and defend, man. I get nervous. Like one time I remember there was this kid. He was like a little retarded or something. He was a buddy of mine in gym. One time I'm in like 9th grade. This guy's just fucking choking me out from behind, right? Just came out of nowhere. And I'm thinking he's fucking around. Then I realized, like, man, if I don't tap, this guy's just going to fucking keep going. So then like he let it go after I tap. I'm like, damn, this guy was sick, bro. This guy was sick in the head. I'm scarred.
No, you can't be messing with people like that.
I'd rather take a guillotine than a fucking You
don't want that Said Nurmagomedov guillotine though.
That hurts.
That's just as bad, dude. We were training some guillotines today. That's why my neck is screwed up. So no, guillotines are the truth too. Trust me. No, AJ, if you want to stay among the conscious, I respect that.
Thanks,
I honestly do the same thing. I've never been out in my life. I've never been knocked out. I've never been choked out in my life.
I think better off not having to, you know?
Yeah. Come on, man. We'll stay amongst the only time I want to be unconscious is when I decide I'm going to sleep and I get into my bed. You know, I get on my Tempur-Pedic. That's when I go out.
Is that a Tempur-Pedic ad? We got them sponsoring us,
brother. That's a comfy ass mattress. I mean, I own some of their stock, so yeah, buy a Tempur-Pedic. Go ahead.
Tempur-Pedic.
We'll
Check
ask them
them
for
out.
the sponsorship. That shit is comfy.
Let's go. Listen, people, we appreciate you all. Much love. Keep your eyes peeled for the content. I'll be live tomorrow, and then I'll be dropping the full card picks for the Fury and Ngannou card live on Thursday, and then more content coming with a Saturday Fight Companion. So you guys don't want to miss it. Keep your eyes peeled right here on the MMA Experts channel. Much love, my people. We appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.